Good afternoon, Hugues.
Good afternoon. How are you, Sherman?
I'm doing great. I'm in, the beautiful Okanagan. We're actually starting to turn the corner in the Okanagan from rain to sunshine. So everybody's getting really excited. We've had unusually cool weather and lots of rain, which has been great, for the greenery of the Okanagan. But people are now starting to worry about flooding, but also quite excited about the sunny Okanagan sunshine's coming our way. How are things with you? You're in Washington.
I'm in Washington, D.C. I just arrived. I flew in this afternoon. I'm here to attend a conference for 2 days where I'm going to be on one of the panels. It's put together by Benchmark Minerals, and it's about the battery industry and the gigafactories that are being built all over the world. They're doing a tour around North America, and so this is a 2-day conference. And then from here, I'm going to head out to Phoenix and attend another conference, which is sponsored by Fast Market, also on the battery industry. And I will be on 2 different panels there during that conference. And we are getting a lot of press, because of all the things that we're doing, and being the only North American graphite producer. We are kind of an authority on the subject now with regards to the use of graphite in batteries, and it's very important for us to be out there and to tell our story and to get to meet these people, especially now that the DOE is putting out grants to build factories, and we need to get our name out there and be visible.
Well, it's great that we've been able to spend a little time this afternoon. For the listeners, I'm here with Hugues Jacquemin. Hugues is the Chief Executive Officer of Northern Graphite. Northern Graphite is one of the major players and soon to be one of the 3rd largest producers in the world outside of China in the very important graphite market. Those of you that are following electrification, which is most people on the planet, when you change transportation, you change the world, and none of this is going to happen without a battery. And of course, you can't build batteries without graphite. So I'm here with Hugues Jacquemin, who's the CEO of Northern Graphite, just to talk casually about some of the exciting things that are going on with Northern Graphite. And I guess there's 2 things I guess what I would ask Hugues is, number one, I attended Hugues' investment presentation in Toronto recently at PDAC, where he laid out 2 things. One, his experience in the graphite business, number 1, and number 2, his vision for Northern Graphite. So I'll hand it back to you, Hugues, and thanks again for taking the time this afternoon. And you look extremely fresh and well for someone that's traveling that much.
Yes, I'm used to it. I spent all my life running global businesses, so I'm used to traveling, flying quite a bit. But yes, I'm excited. I've been in the carbon powder industry for the last 8 years. I started in 2014 as the CEO of Imerys Graphite and Carbon, and I spent 4 years with them developing our plan to enter the lithium-ion battery industry. And this is really what led me to Northern Graphite, because I met Greg a year and a half ago, and Northern Graphite had a very interesting deposit in Biscuit Creek, and they were looking to fund the development of that deposit. And he reached out for me for some help on how we could create some value for Northern Graphite. And I came up with the idea of actually acquiring 2 assets from Imerys that I knew very well. And he thought it was a good idea, would allow us to put Northern Graphite, in the front of the pack rather than at the back of the pack, by becoming, the first North American producer of graphite. And so we went ahead and we approached Imerys, and within a few weeks we had a deal. And then it took us about a year to finance and close the transaction, which we did on the 29th of April. So now Northern Graphite is a producer of natural graphite with up to 300,000 tons of capacity that we can develop over the next 4 or 5 years, 50,000 of which we will have already mid next year. The 25 that we can produce in Lac des Îles, plus another 30 in Namibia, which is the second mine that we bought. And so we're really busy right now. We're fully financed for those two first projects, and we're really busy now executing on that strategy and bringing that mine in Namibia up and running as quickly as we can. But at the same time, you know, the real story for us is about what we want to do as a processor and how we want to move downstream from just producing the graphite concentrate, but turning that concentrate into something that can be used into a battery by milling it, shaping it, purifying it, and coating it. And so that second phase of our strategy we're now working on, and we'll be announcing in the third quarter, you know, what that strategy looks like. And compared to others, you know, most people who do this in the graphite space or try to do this in the graphite space, they tend to develop all the technology themselves. And what we want to do is to partner with people who already have technology so that we can speed up. You know, the market will be here in 24, 25. So if we want to be ready for the market, we really have to accelerate and move fast. And the best way to do that is to leverage, you know, my know-how and expertise in the market and the relationships that I have. And so we've been working on that whilst we were closing the transaction, and we'll be announcing these plans moving forward. But what's great is that, you know, we've actually started producing in Lac des Îles. So we now own that mine as of April 29th. And in the month of May, we actually produced in excess of 1,200 tons and sold just a little over 1,000 tons. So we're actually generating cash, you know, which is totally new for Northern Graphite, because up to yesterday, you know, they were still just a very nice project that needed capital to be able to get into production. But today we're selling graphite, and that's really exciting for the team. We have, you know, we have employees in running the plant. We hired a VP of sales who actually started on Monday. We have a team in Namibia. We had our first employees last week arrive in Namibia. We have another set of employees joining on Monday. So, you know, things are very busy for us because we are transforming the company, you know, into a company that's producing and selling product, and that's really exciting for us.
It's a great update. I mean, you know, as you know, I think we had some conversations in Toronto. You know, my history and my group of investors' history with Northern Graphite goes way back to I think 2007, 2008, where, you know, Greg Bowes brought us into that deal. And as you know, you mentioned Greg, and he's done a tremendous job looking after Northern Graphite over all these years. And of course, we had a phenomenal run when graphite prices took off during the last cycle, which clearly, you know, there's going to be pressure for graphite prices to go much higher given the demand. But maybe just to wrap up our interview, just talk a little bit about the uses of graphite, almost like graphite for kindergartens, if you will. You know, not everybody's as in tune as we are with the use of graphite and how important it is to a battery.
Yeah, so, you know, graphite is one of two natural carbon available in nature. One of them being graphite, the other one being diamond. The properties of a graphite is actually quite interesting. It's really about conductivity, both thermal and electrical. And it also has reinforcing properties, because from graphite you can make graphene, which is a single layer of graphite. And therefore, you know, the graphite can be used in a lot of different applications. But today, the most important application is the lithium-ion battery. And the reason for that is that, you know, when you look at the lithium-ion battery, you have a positive and a negative. The positive is called the cathode, the negative is called the anode. And basically, when you charge and discharge the battery, you go from the cathode to the anode and vice versa. And so both of these poles of the battery, they are in similar size. And the cathode is made up of nickel, it's made up of manganese, cobalt, and has lithium. But the anode is almost entirely made of graphite. So that means that a battery is basically made up of 48 to 50% of graphite, which means that with all the batteries that are being built around the world, you know, the quantity of graphite that will be required in the future is enormous. And so by being in the graphite business, you know, we have a great position, especially in North America, with all the battery factories that are being built. You know, if you think of our production capacity being the only one in North America as a pencil, and you think of all the gigafactories that are being built, you know, we would need 20 or 30 pencils, not one. So demand is going to increase significantly. And why haven't we seen that yet? It's because most of that graphite today is coming from China. And 95% of the graphite used in batteries today is mined or synthesized and produced in China. And therefore, you know, the demand for that graphite has been in China. And we really haven't seen that uptake yet in North America or in Europe, but it's coming. In fact, Benchmark, you know, who does a lot of analysis on this market, they're predicting that in 2023, the market will be short about 40,000 tons. So we are going to start to see, you know, a much higher demand in the future because of that. And this is why we want to invest downstream, and we want to transform the graphite. So rather than selling it for $1.50 a kilo, you know, we can sell it for $8 or $10 a kilo. But of course, we have to invest, we have to bring on the technology, but that's the intention that we have.
Well, thanks, Hugues. I mean, you've done a wonderful job of increasing the awareness of not only the graphite industry, but also the enormous opportunities that stand in front of us for Northern Graphite. And I can't help but sort of imagine this door that everybody's, you know, going to have to try and get through to invest in the graphite space. And, you know, one of the reasons why Northern Graphite is one of our top picks is there's just not a lot of good quality graphite companies. And so I'm here with Hugues Jacquemin, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Northern Graphite, clearly one of our top picks, if not one of our only picks in the graphite space. And Hugues, I just want to really thank you for taking the time. I know you've got a very busy schedule, and I know that you're going to be in Vancouver and out in the Okanagan the next couple of weeks. So I look forward to seeing you again.
Me too, Sherman. Thank you for taking the time, and we can do these anytime to give you an update as how things are going on our end. And we thank all your clients and our investors for believing in us and trusting us for the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Hugues.
Okay, take it easy.